MechaRandom42, your favorite YouTube Harvey, and we have an interesting article that came out a few days ago. I think it came out the 9th, according to my Google search. It says 1 day ago. Sure, whatever, we'll go with that. Does Star Trek need a single, streamlined, canonical continuity? I jumped on this one because right after, it's just so coincidental that right after Midnight's Edge releases this giant nuke of an article that basically goes through and explains how the Discovery universe and the J.J. Abrams Kelvin universe are all in this prime universe that never existed in of course, in according to the Bad Robot Secret Hideout team, because of legal reasons. That universe is all its own thing, and it never existed until 2009 when J.J. Abrams rebooted Star Trek under the Bad Robot license deal. Please go check out that Midnight's Edge video. I will link it in the description below. It is long. They are going to do a shorter, condensed version of that, just so it's clear who owns what. But this was a really interesting thing. It almost reads like damage control for a second. It almost reads like an admission of, oh yeah, well, so what if it's not in the same universe? So what if the Kelvin universe is the prime universe that they're referring to in the 2009 Star Trek film, and not the canon universe of the television and films and everything before, pretty much everything until Enterprise. It almost feels like this might be a little bit of a damage control sort of article. And it was really buried. It took me a little bit of digging to even find this. So this comes from Fansided, the Red Shirts Must Die, a subsection of them. And we've had some dealings with some Fansided articles that have been very much clickbait, attack fans, etc., etc. Let's get in this. I've only skimmed this. This is one that I did want to kind of skim through a little bit before I started recording. Oh, Lord. So, should Star Trek take a cue from Star Wars and begin making sure all the various tie-in materials form one single canon continuity? Yes, for legal reasons they can't right now unless the whole merger happens. From my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, that yeah, they would like to, but they can't. So they keep kind of dancing around it, and they keep saying, oh yeah, it'll line up with Prime, it'll line up with Prime. Yeah, it will line up with Prime. Too bad you guys are kind of lying through your ass what Prime is. The Prime universe, according to the writing and the legal agreement, the Prime universe is only referring to the things. Keep in mind where this came from. This came out of the 2009 film. It's referring to something that happened in the 2009 film, not anything that actually happened. And they trick you. They use little tricks and stuff. Like they show a picture of Star Trek V and they use Leonard Nimoy, but he's not the Spock we knew. He's not our Spock. He's basically Spock with a little beard going around killing people in a psych hospital back on Discovery. He's not Spock that had the adventures with Captain Kirk and didn't have a sister and didn't have, the mental issues that this new Discovery Spock. I almost called him our Spock. Our Spock didn't have those issues. Our Spock was actually a decent officer and a decent person, not the murderer that they're trying to make him out to be. So, that being said, from almost the moment Star Trek hit the airwaves, the series expanded beyond just what was seen in the television screen. Even in those early days, there were books and comics featuring the characters with adventures not seen on television. For the most part, that ended when the show was canceled. But when the series made the jump to the big screen, things began again in earnest. New novels arrived almost every month with previously unknown adventures of the Enterprise and her crew. Soon, new comics hit the stands as well, filling the gaps between the films. Things went to another level when The Next Generation aired in 1987 and then Deep Space Nine in 1993. Fans were literally overwhelmed with new tie-in stories as well as video and role-playing games, all with new bits of information. Even now, new Discovery novels are hitting stores' shelves, as well as new comics from IDW that cover all the various time periods as well as alternate realities. Do they really, though? Or are they only in like this Bad Robot and Kelvin universe? That is something I actually should probably look up here for you guys. Let me see, what are they? The IDW Star Trek. Let me look that up. Why not, right? You guys don't mind waiting. So IDW Star Trek Publishing. These look to be like the Kelvin Universe. What does that look like to us? That's Kelvin Universe to me. That is the Kelvin Universe. This is the Kelvin Universe. Kelvin, that's Simon Pegg as Scotty. Kelvin Universe. Kelvin. 3-film collection. All these like old Spock. This is old Spock from the Kelvin Universe. This is Kelvin Prime Spock. Con, how old is this? Okay, this is my comics. Is this IDW? Let's see. Are you IDW? You are not IDW. I don't believe. Okay, so yeah, that's just a different sort of comic. All of these IDW comics. Who's fucking Kelvin again? But they got Q with the Kelvin Universe. What the fuck? So okay, the IDW comics. I am not going. Yeah, this is all this mirror universe shit from Star Trek Timelines that I keep seeing, like Mirror Picard. Yeah, okay, so this stuff, these IDW comics, from what I'm seeing, is this real Captain? No, more Kelvin. I kind of see it out of the corner of my eye. I don't see any real Star Trek people on these IDW. Okay, how about this one? Not final art. Okay, so we can't take that one. Not final art. I don't think that the IDW books are in the same. Okay, here's one. Is this still the Kelvin people? Because that looks like either Gul Dukat. That kind of could be Gul Dukat. There's Odo. Who is this? Is this Mira Uhura? Who is this one now? And now I gotta click on it. The Q Gambit. Okay, but yes, who is this officer? City on the Edge of Forever, the original teleplay. That's not a comic book, that's expanding. And when did this come out as well? This is my question to you guys. Like, this IDW stuff, do they have to fall under the Bad Robot license? Because from what I'm seeing, like 99% of their stuff, and granted that some of their old comics, that Q stuff might be like really old for all I know, are they only doing, from 2009 on, are they only taking place in the Kelvin or made up universes? You know, this is why you saw like the Mirror Picard, who's all ripped and buff with the ripped sleeves and the super biceps and stuff. Is that supposed to be? Because I don't take the comics or the books or any of that stuff as canon to TV. I go by what's on my shelf. I go by, TOS, TNG, DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise as canon, as under the license agreement. All the expanded universe stuff is fantasy for all I care for my personal sort of canon, I guess. Because that's stuff that I'm not going to go out and hunt down and spend time and money on. I have too many other things I watch, basically. Even now, the new Discovery novels are hitting the store shelves. All right, so that kind of answered my question a little bit. That, like, from what I could find of the IDW stuff, it's all basically Kelvin Universe. Star Trek Discovery. It's all Discovery. It's all this new shit. I don't care about this new shit. I don't care about new Spock. I don't care about these new people. This is why I'm so... Oh, fuck. You got goddamn Takuma's face up there. He looks like modeling chocolate. He looks like bad modeling chocolate. You know, if you guys ever watch any of those baking shows. I don't care about the Discovery Universe. I care about being lied to and told that Prime is canon. That is my biggest concern here. That is my biggest bit of anger. And my biggest bit of disappointment. And that's the only reason why I complain so loudly, is because they insist that it's just going to line up to Prime. Fine, that's semantics. Prime is not canon. You guys need to admit Prime is not canon, though. And this is why when you hear little sort of shill arguments of, oh, well, see, they retconned this, and they were talking about the view screen. See? Doesn't matter. It's not in the right universe anyway. You can have the holograms in that alternate universe. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't be watching this shit. And neither would any of the rest of us. We have been tricked and conned into believing that this is real Star Trek. They keep lying. They keep doing, because they can't legally give us Star Trek. They can't legally give us exact uniforms that should be in this time frame. They can't give us the stories. They have to do this. Well, it's 25% different. So we get pulled out of warp instead of drop out of warp. Stupid shit like that. Because 25% different is the magic number. When Lucasfilm was purchased by Disney, one of the first things they did was effectively wipe the slate clean and start fresh. All the previous novels, comics, and games, and so forth, collectively known as the Expanded Universe, were furthermore called Star Wars Legends, and the franchise's continuity was essentially rebooted. Exactly, and that is what we have to remember with Star Wars as well, is that yes, they because it is Disney, it is not even our Star Wars. That is why it sucks so bad. That is why it's taking such a drastically different change. That is why Luke Skywalker is not the Luke Skywalker we know. That you know, it is because they're putting out sequels in numbered continuity, in a different universe, in a different reality, under different licensing, under different legal terms, under different management. Basically, they've changed the recipe. This Disney, Star Wars, Star Trek Discovery. This is all new Coke. This is all new Coke, and they're just lying and saying it's the same thing. While it upset many longtime fans, in retrospect, it's probably the best thing to happen to the franchise. No. Really, by killing like so many, it made for a more cohesive universe where everything counted and all the stories fit into a seamless whole. All right, no. Even with Star Wars, I only ever counted what was on screen, the movies. I knew in the back of my head stuff like Star Wars, Clone Wars, the cartoon, was canon. I just kind of took all the books and everything with a grain of salt that, okay, they're inspired by, but I kind of took all the books and novelizations, even like the Chuck Wendig stuff that I never read. Even the Thrawn stuff, that's all fan fiction. Same thing with all of the novels, same thing with all of that. It's all basically fan fiction, whether it's officially licensed or not. In my head, I can separate the books and everything because that's not what I see on screen. It doesn't have the actors and writing and directing. It's in its own thing. And that's how I kind of avoid it for the most part. But I know a lot of people love that. And no, I don't think it made it more cohesive because they changed too much in Star Wars and they're changing too much in Star Trek. For the amount of new Star Trek projects on the horizon that will never see the light of day if we have anything to say about it, each to almost certainly have tie-in novels and comics as well as new games, forming some sort of Star Trek story group to keep everything straight wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. It wouldn't be the worst idea in the world, except that we don't have the license to make it right. See, this is the thing. We have a Star Trek sort of... We have the continuity experts and the canon experts in the room there, but they're not listened to because of this license agreement. They just do this, and they just have them there as a token to trick and deceive the fans. That's the only reason. So to keep everything straight wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. It wouldn't. And it would just be so much better if they came out and admitted that, yes, this is a different universe, that Prime is the Kelvin universe, and that there is a license agreement. And that's why I kind of call bullshit on this article, because it seems to give people, it seems to be a response to people saying, wait a minute, Midnight Edge says it's not in the same continuity. It's not canon. It's Prime. It's not canon. It's all canon to itself, all the Prime Kelvin stuff is all canon to itself, but it's not actually canon. And this seems to be, to me, to be like some sort of a damage control article, and basically a test the waters to see if, maybe if we lie to you and say we have a story group who are a bunch of figureheads, just like the Lucasfilm story group, then will that shut you up? Will that convince you that it's Star Trek? Will that make you go away and stop making videos? No, it won't. It won't make me stop making videos. Sure, decades of novels and comics will be relegated to the It Didn't Happen pile, which would be a shame, especially considering how, after Star Trek Nemesis, the various novels went from standalone adventures for more of a shared universe and stories. See, now here's the problem with the Picard series. After Nemesis is where this Kelvin Prime universe kicks in. So the destruction of Romulus happens in the Kelvin universe. It's an event that happens in the Kelvin Prime universe. The Prime Picard we're going to see is from that universe, not Captain Picard from those silver DVD box sets. It is a similar sort of person. He had a lot of similar stuff. It's probably a very close mirror universe, but it's not going to be us. It's not like the extreme opposite mirrored universe that Discovery likes to throw people into. No, it's going to be Picard from the Prime Kelvin universe. It is not going to be our Picard. This is why I'm calling him Jake Picard, because he's basically Jake Skywalker, only Captain Picard. However, most of the universe, however, with most of those surely to be contradicted in the new Picard series, it was going to happen anyway. Yep. See, and that's the thing. Even if they did pull from the regular universe, they can't use that because they have to have it 25% different for these legal reasons and the loopholes. According to, and like I said, I'm not a news reporter. I'm just saying this is what this is what the video says. This is how the legal agreement seems to work from my interpretation of the report. I'm giving you my opinion on it. Some form of Star Trek story group. You know what? Sign me up. It couldn't be any worse. You know, I can be a diversity hire if you want. They'd never hire me. I'd flat out tell them, and I would be leaking every chance I could get. Hey, they're actually not going through with this. They're still fucking us over. It's still bullshit because, you know, I'm a hothead. I can't keep my mouth shut. Some form of story group could solve a lot of problems before they crop up and keep everything organized and coherent. And wouldn't it be nice to know the latest Star Trek novel or comic books is canon without having to ask? It would be nice to know what's canon and what's prime. It would be really nice to know that. But, you know, luckily, it's pretty clear. Anything made after 2009 is not Star Trek. We knew that's when Star Trek died. We didn't even bother, like, we didn't even get the honor and the opportunity to mourn this. You know, instead we keep getting lies and saying, oh yeah, it's going to match up to Prime, it's going to match up to Prime, and it's not really a lie. It's to be fair, that's not even a lie. It's a misdirection, though. It's definitely trying to pull the wool over the fans' eyes. So what do you guys think about this article? Do you think this is to like kind of smooth over the Midnight's Edge article or video that dropped? Or do you think that this is something completely unrelated? Do you think that they have any idea that they're just kind of speculating? Because why else would this article come out right after the Midnight's Edge video dropped? It's not promoting anything. It's not saying, hey, the Picard series is coming. Hey, this. You know, here's what's going on with Section 31. Here's what's going on with Picard. Here's what happened on Discovery. This just feels like a direct response after the Midnight's Edge video. Because normally when you see these articles, they're promoting something. They're in relation to something. This one came out of nowhere. This one really came out of nowhere. So tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. As always, I am MechaRandom42, your favorite YouTube harpy, and I'll see you guys on the next video or live stream. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!